Channel open. Welcome back to Weekly Trek, a Star Trek news podcast presented by TrekCore.com. I am your host, Alex Perry.
What's today's date? The date.
Today's show was recorded on June 19th, 2026, and is current through Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1, so beware of spoilers. Alright, let's get into the show.
Good day, Voyager, and welcome to A Briefing with Neelix. It's a catchy title, isn't it?
Weekly Trek is a regular news show covering the biggest stories from the Star Trek franchise. We are in the Alex Kurtzman era of Star Trek with the 12th television show currently in production and 14 movies to enjoy, and merchandise continuing to fill the Bajoran wormhole. So stick with me and I'll help you sort the real facts from a lot of the Dominion propaganda that you'll find online. But I can't do this alone, and my guest this week is returning guest Bill Mann. Bill, welcome back to Weekly Trek.
Thanks so much for having me back. I love Weekly Trek, and this is an exciting week, so I'm thrilled to be here.
All right, Bill. Well, you know the drill. I want to know if something's got you excited about Star Trek at the moment. What's got you moving at Warp 10?
Well, rule of acquisition number 33 says it never hurts to suck up to the boss. And I'm going to suck up to the boss and say that what's got me feeling good about Star Trek right now is Warp Factor 5.
I am Venmoing you $50 right now, Bill.
No. Yeah. This is free of charge, I promise. But it's very genuine. I love the show. This is the kind of thing that when podcasts became a thing and I started to really get engaged with the internet in this kind of fashion, this is the kind of show that I've wanted to have for like 25 years. I mean, this is right up my alley. You're speaking my language. You're compiling data. You're asking for ratings and taking scores and combining them together for averages and things like that. And I just can't love it enough. And I think I've said this on Blue Sky, but in this era of Star Trek that we're kind of entering into where we are probably not going to have a steady stream or maybe any new content in the near future, these kinds of shows are going to be really, really important to keep people engaged, keep people connected, keep people talking about Star Trek. You know, when we had the dark days of 2006 through 2017. For a big chunk of that, we didn't have this stuff, this connectivity with the internet and social media, the good and the bad that comes with that. And for a lot of it, we didn't even have like this podcast kind of a thing. And if we're going to have another little dark period, I'm grateful that we're going to have shows like this where we can kind of as a collective have an experience going through this stuff, sharing our rewatches, re-examining the episodes, thinking about how our opinions of them have changed because of new content that's come and how that's impacted our view of stuff that came before, which your show is doing a great job of doing. I'm just so in love with the concept and so excited that you're doing it. And I appreciate it. I really do mean that when I say, like, thank you for putting this together and putting your heart and soul into it, because it's the kind of show I've wanted since I've been a little kid. Like, this is what I live for. Just rewatching it and re-examining it and thinking about episodes and how my opinions have shifted over time. I just watched In the Flesh today. Sure. And that's an episode that I have like gone back and forth on for 25, 30 years now. Like I loved it and then I didn't. And now I'm kind of in the middle. And this show is like designed to like put that into a capsule and go through that with people and talk about it and hear what other people think about not just the classics, but every episode in chunks. So just thank you again for putting it together. And I'm so excited that it's here. We got to listen to episode 1 this week, and I can't wait for more.
All right. Well, I'm marking you down for episode... which episode will In the Flesh be? That will be... I'm marking you down right now for season 5, right? Yep.
Season 5.
Yep, that's going to be episode 185. Night Drone, Extreme Risk, In the Flesh, and Once Upon a Time. Well, that's really nice.
That's where I am right now.
It's a really nice 5 to talk about. Yes, I've written you down, Bill. You're coming back in 5 years to
Can't wait.
talk about episode 185. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say that. And I'll trail ahead that you're the guest on the next episode. I mean, we recorded it months ago at this point, but we had a great time talking about the Andorian incident through Cold Front, which was a lot of fun. But I got to ask you, because you submitted your picks to me, Warp Factor ratings for episode 1 to 5, and also best series regular, best guest performance, best production design, quiet moment, and loud moment. And for loud moment, you picked the rooftop shootout in Broken Bow. Tell me what you like about that scene in particular.
I think in that episode, like, I think Broken Bow kind of sets out to give like a a renewed energy to Star Trek and kind of to shoot some fresh new life into old ideas, old concepts to a degree. It's kind of harkening back to the original show in some ways, and there's just something kind of like swashbucklingly cool to me about that. Like it's certainly nothing we haven't seen before in Star Trek. It's a phaser fight. On the surface and maybe on the page, it probably reads like, another Star Trek action sequence. But there's something about the way that sequence is situated within Broken Bow, watching these characters on this mystery, trying to figure this stuff out, be kind of a couple steps behind, not be, as well equipped to kind of navigate the situation as Captain Picard's crew or Captain Kirk, Captain Janeway's crew have this situation. They're wide-eyed. It's just different enough, like for me, it captures like the essence of what Enterprise is kind of striving to do. It's Star Trek. It's recognizably, unmistakably Star Trek, but it's a little different. It's a throwback, but it's fresh. And to me, I remember watching Broken Bow when it aired, and that was kind of a moment where I felt my blood going a little bit. Like, this is cool. This is exciting again. It's taking something that I've seen 100 times over like my life watching other Star Trek stuff, and it's making it feel interesting and unique again. So I went with that. There were other things I thought of as well. There are loud moments in Strange New World, and there was a really good loud moment chosen by Jim from Fight or Flight. So I definitely kind of consciously stayed away from things that were already chosen, and that loomed large. And just like I do when I'm on Trek Ranks, I kind of go with gut instinct. I kind of I'm leaning towards like what comes to my mind when I think of those 5 episodes, and that's what came to mind.
Yeah, it's funny that as you were talking, the thing it made me think about, which I think you and I talk a little bit about in the next episode with the next block of Enterprise episodes, is like a lot of these early Enterprise episodes either successfully or not successfully, and I think we talked about it in the not successfully context, are like trying to hark back more to sort of a TOS-y type like vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing you talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, that rooftop shootout scene has a very TOS vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually sort of successfully done in that it's the TOS vibe, but it's also the TOS vibe coming very much from the position of, we've never done this before.
Yeah.
Not that the show's never done it before, because obviously the show's done 100,000 shootouts over, the 600 episodes there are at that point, but that these characters have never done anything like this before.
Yeah. There's nothing ho-hum about it to them. Like the episode sells me on they're wide-eyed and like, holy crap, what have we gotten ourselves into? And that's kind of the moment where I think they kind of reckon with the fact that they're in over their heads a little bit in this mission that they're on. So I it's always worked on me. Broken Bow as a whole works on me. So I'm an easy sell for a lot of the stuff that episode packages, and that works really well.
Warp Factor 5 available now on all podcast platforms. Well, let me tell you what I'm feeling good about Star Trek this week, which is I did my first little dabble into the 403 auctions of the Everything Must Go from Toronto Star Trek production. These auctions that have been held by this auction house up in Canada, in which like large sections of Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy sets have been sold off, more chairs than you could ever possibly imagine, all kinds of different, sort of production materials. There are like whole bins full of boots that have been sold, and like pallets of wires, and not just the like on-screen stuff, but the sort of behind-the-scenes stuff as well. Whole suite of flat screen TVs, that have been used in the shows for all kinds of purposes as consoles and that kind of thing. And the first few auctions, I didn't sort of see, like the things that I saw that interested me, like the Starfleet Academy Turbo Lift, the like whole thing. There's just no way I was going to own, right? Like, because you have to go physically pick them up in Toronto, or have somebody like physically pick them up in Toronto for you. And even if I had that, where am I going to put the whole like Starfleet Academy, turbo lift set? So like, there's been a lot of fun stuff, and I know people have been having a lot of fun with it, but I got my first couple of items through that auction just yesterday, actually, and I'm very pleased. And they're still going, and they just listed auction number 8 today, which actually has a lot of Star Trek Picard stuff in it. Weirdly, they must have,
nice.
even though they filmed that in Southern California, when they finished production, they must have shipped a bunch of stuff to Toronto, being like, well, maybe we'll need this one day for a future Star Trek production. And
what kinds of things from Picard do you see?
It's like bio beds and nothing like super sort of iconic, you know? It's a lot of like set pieces, but
that could be retrofitted
like,
to fit whatever show.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you want like a futuristic looking, medical bed, hey, pull out the USS Titan one, but it's not like the Titan captain's chair is there.
Yeah.
Or, anything particularly kind of connected to any of the characters from that show. But it's I mean, there's some wild stuff in terms of like big stuff. There's like I think the like conference table is one of the things, or a conference table from one of the Picard seasons is included, and it's obviously it's stuff that like I mean you need to have a truck to pick up.
Yeah. How are you gonna go get that?
Exactly, but I mean by virtue of the fact that there's quite a high barrier to entry to participate in the auction. You can only pay in Canadian dollars with a Canadian bank account, and you have to go and show up in person and pick it up. That means the prices have been like very reasonable because it's kind of hard
limited
to get
pool.
this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Exactly. Right. So if you've got a guy, and I don't have a guy, but I've got a guy who's got a guy, maybe has a guy.
Yeah.
Then you're in a position to benefit from it. And so it's not, I mean, part of me wishes that it was more accessible, right? Like that they would ship and that they would ship outside of Canada and take international payments. But also at the same time, I kind of understand, just given the sheer scale of the things they're selling and how much of it there is, that would just be a huge pain in the ass. So
sure,
I can also understand why they're just kind of doing it the way they're doing it.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. Well, with that, let's turn to the week's top stories.
There's a war going on, and I'm a reporter.
Well, we are now just over a month away from the return of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and Paramount Plus has dropped both a fresh trailer and new key art for Season 4. The poster features all 8 regular cast members, though notably without Martin Quinn Scotty, though he is in the trailer a bunch, alongside recurring guest Paul Wesley as James T. Kirk, with the tagline, "Boldly go one step closer to where it all began," underscoring the show's collision course with the original series. The trailer adds footage we didn't see in April's first teaser, promising inner demons, external threats, colorful new faces, familiar reunions, and some terrifying aliens, all in the service of that bright, hopeful future. Let's give the trailer a listen.
I have many things I want to talk about. Hopes. Dreams. Fears. I believe you are here so I can share them with you.
You, more than anyone that I know, have thought about the past and the future a great deal. But most of us live in the now.
Perhaps what happens next will define everything.
Where are you sending us? Well, this is a fun one. I know what we are about to do is hard.
There is never any reason to do something alone when you need help.
There's too much at stake.
The SOS was a trap. Everyone out now.
We need to get off this ship. Everybody, hang on to something. Anything. Everything.
Let's save this ship and our friends.
You are facing the finest crew in Starfleet, and they will be able to fight back in ways you cannot imagine.
We've seen a lot of strange new worlds. But we'll never see something like this again.
Don't worry, Spock. I'm sure one day you'll get to aim that logical mind of yours at some lucky captain.
Season 4 beams down globally on Thursday, July 23rd, running 10 weeks through September 24th. Bill, what was your reaction to the Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4 trailer?
I'm very much a Strange New Worlds guy, so I think it looks great. I'm very excited for it. I don't know that I've said this very often, like out there, but it's definitely and I love all the new shows, but it's my favorite of the new shows. I think it most successfully captures the feeling that I had as a kid in the 90s with the shows that were on. I watch trailers like this and it just it captures my imagination with like, what are these episodes? What kinds of stories are these going to be? And I love the structure of it. And it sweeps me up with all the good vibes of mixing the new and the old in just the right alchemy for me. So I'm very excited for it. You've been on the record with the kind of struggles with how people have responded to season 3, especially. Yes. And I have mixed feelings about season 3. So on one hand, I'm so excited for my own personal experience and to have it back and to have 10 weeks of this. But on the other hand, I'm also kind of dreading the inevitable experience that I'm sure will come as these episodes are dropping. And I'm hopeful that it's a great season, and I'm sure it will be for me. But I'm hoping people are going into it with an open mind and realistic, open expectations. And I hope it's successful. It's one of our last batches of 10 episodes that left. And I'm really hoping to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the trailer, which I think just looks like a lot of fun. It's hard to discern a plot or a story because of the structure of the show. It's 10 individual episodes, and I'm sure pretty independently built and not like a running theme to detect really in the trailer. It's just kind of, spitting you into moments, and those moments look great. I'm thrilled to see the characters again, and it looks like a lot of fun, as the show pretty much always is for me.
Yeah, it's a great trailer. It's definitely got me, very much excited for the upcoming season. Yeah, a couple of friends and I who were on a group text together were placing wagers on what was going to be.
People are going to say.
Yeah, what was going to be the controversy du jour about the trailer after we first watched it. I won't tell you what we settled on because I haven't seen it come up and I don't want to speak it into existence.
Yeah, let's not do that.
But I think it looks really fun, and I mean, there's Strange New Worlds, Strange New Worlds, and you can sort of get a little bit of a sense of there's a horror episode, and there's the episode with the dinosaur in it. Puppet episode doesn't make an appearance in this trailer, which is an interesting choice.
I think they maybe learned a little something from the last experience. Yeah.
Right. And also, there isn't a ton of, recognizable stuff. I mean, there's, there's sort of a tribble coo noise, and there's a shot where Uhura has a very TOS-y style hairdo,
which it
doesn't have in other shots in the trailer. So, is that an episode where something weird's happening, or is that just a choice that she makes in the course of, the character adopts a hairstyle in the course of the season that kind of starts to transition more towards TOS, which is the, the tagline, boldly go one step closer to where it all began.
Yeah.
Feels like they're sort of intentionally telling you, we're starting to kind of thematically, probably not in terms of look of the show, but in terms of character and that kind of thing, and story-wise, draw it towards TOS. Obviously, there's, a decent amount of Kirk in this trailer. I think anybody who's I don't like how much Kirk there is in this show.
Get ready.
It's the show. It's after 3 seasons of Kirk in the show.
It's part of it. It's just
part of the show. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's in the mission statement of the show that it's driving towards kind of a connective. It's just what it is. It is what it is, and it's
in the show.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, but it's super intriguing. And I was sort of thinking back to the season 3 trailer where you got the very obvious hit of, oh, is that Trelane? Oh, they're doing the holodeck. But I watched this trailer and I'm aside from being able to sort of, thematically pick out some of the episodes, there's a Western episode, and there's the episode
horror
with the dinosaur in it, and the horror episode. I'm not kind of pulling away as many
obvious,
obvious story connections to the wider Star Trek franchise. And I love that because it means that, we're not starting each episode going, is this the episode where the holodeck shows up? Right.
Yeah.
And so I like that, but it is, It's a great trailer, and I think it sets up pretty well for the season ahead.
I hope so, and I like completely agree when I think back to season 3 and the kind of the experience going into it. For whatever reason, it just felt like very much that you just said it. You kind of felt like you knew enough of the episodes, you could piece it together from the trailer that you kind of, there wasn't much mystery to, like, you knew that the 4.5 Vulcans thing was going to happen.
Yeah, right.
You knew Trelane was going to happen. You knew the holodeck thing because Jonathan Frakes kind of the Hollywood murder mystery. Like, these things you could start to kind of piece together, and before you knew it, yeah, you could almost like put up on a whiteboard, like you map out, like you probably got 5 of these episodes kind of sort of figured out. And I have no idea. Like, you get it's just flavors and tastes in this trailer. And I'm sure by the halfway point of the season, we could probably look back at this trailer and do the same sort of thing. But I really have no idea, like, what this is all leading to and how they all work together. So I'm grateful for that. I feel like I don't know much going into it. And I love that. I love going into this show, especially going, what are they going to do? That was one of my favorite things about watching the shows in the 90s and the early 2000s. You never knew if it was going to be a romantic comedy or a Western or a horror or a character drama. And this show captures that. And I love going week to week, kind of not having a great idea, or at least by the time the episode's here, you kind of know, just if you pay attention at all. But going into the season, at least I have no idea what they're going to do.
Well, and also it's like, okay, there's a shot of a dinosaur that looks a lot like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean there's a dinosaur episode? Not necessarily,
Not
right?
necessarily.
Like, cold open, cut to away team on a planet being chased by a T-Rex.
Yeah.
They, asked to get beamed up. Someone gets injured on the way up, and then the episode is about the crew member who's injured, not about the T-Rex on the planet.
100%,
that's just a little moment at the start of an episode, or the end of an episode, or the middle of an episode.
We have no idea.
Exactly.
The contextual construct surrounding why they're in that situation, what's happening, how much is it driving the episode is completely unknown to us.
Right.
It could be huge. It could be minor. It could be one sequence in like a crazy, we're bouncing from thing to thing. And it's like just a little taste of, a piece of a wider pie. We have no idea. And I love that. That's great.
Makes it tougher to talk about on a podcast.
It does.
but that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. Exactly.
It's doing its job as a trailer, which is to excite you for a viewing experience. Yes, that you're teased for, but not spoiled on.
Correct. I feel unspoiled, and like I have theories in my mind that the very first thing you see in the trailer with Spock in that weird room, and he's kind of oddly dressed, and he's talking to Kirk about, I have these things I want to say. To me, I see that, and because I've seen a lot of Star Trek in my life, I see that as like, that's Spock in his own head. Spock's injured, something happened to Spock, and it's like Monster and Picard, like some sort of,
especially after the mind meld at the end of season 3.
Like there's some, I can kind of see a version of that in my head. I have no idea if I'm right or not. I could be completely wrong. I could be right on the money. Who knows? But it's little things like that, and I like that too. Like, it's giving me things to think about, and I'm charting it in my head and coming up with my own theories. But I have no idea. There's very little that I feel like I have a handle on, and it just makes me more excited for it. And it's just a month away, so not a long wait before we start figuring it out.
Well, out of Summer Game Fest came a genuine surprise. Star Trek Shadow Frontier, an action horror title due next year, and it stars Michelle Forbes reprising her Star Trek The Next Generation role of Ro Laren. The game comes from Bloober Team, the horror specialists behind games like Layers of Fear, The Medium, and the Silent Hill 2 remake, partnered with the newly formed Paramount Games division. In the game, Ro is lured to an uncharted planet and then stranded there, a world described as a bit of a graveyard for spaceships. Her task is to figure out what happened and why there's so much wreckage. According to the Steam synopsis of the game, players will step into the fractured mind of former Lieutenant Ro Laren as she seeks to rescue an old friend on a harrowing journey of survival and self-discovery. And as the official description tells it, after crashing onto a planet overtaken by a strange consciousness, Ro's memories begin to twist with the world itself threatening to sever her connection to reality. Speaking to IGN, Paramount Games' Sean Kittleson called Shadow Frontier a, quote, psychological thriller, adding, if you really like a thrilling survival adventure, this is the game for you. If you're a Star Trek fan who wants to dig into a character like Ro Laren, this is also the game for you. And he also teased that if this game lands, it could be the first of many AAA Star Trek games. While Forbes last appeared in Picard Season 3, a TNG-era comm badge in the trailer hints this may be set during the Enterprise D years, though that is also unconfirmed. Shadow Frontier Frontier is targeting a 2027 release on PC, Xbox Series consoles, PS5, and Switch 2. Bill, any reaction to Star Trek Shadow Frontier?
I certainly did not have Michelle Forbes returning as Laren in a Star Trek video game on my 2026 bingo card. I was shocked when she came back for Picard because she's not a person who
franchise gal.
Yeah, she's not one of those folks who really embraces it. She's not on the convention circuit. She's not out there talking about this stuff a whole lot. And the fact that she's back again doing this is shocking to me. And it's really cool. Star Trek obviously has and I'm not a gamer. I'm not an expert in this field at all, but I do know enough to know that Star Trek has a kind of mixed history with success with video game adaptations. I grew up with some that I really loved. Some of the more recent ones I think have been a little less successful, although I really like Star Trek Resurgence. I played that a good bit. I haven't finished it. So there's been some recent successes that give me a lot of hope for this, but it sure looks cool. I mean, the trailer looks like really sharp, really impressive cinematic stuff. And the story is sure interesting to bring her back. I'm certainly intrigued by that. And I'm just impressed that they convinced Michelle Forbes to go ahead and do this. I'm very intrigued and just shocked. I just didn't see it coming.
Yes, Star Trek games are having sort of a moment in time. I'm also not really a gamer. I got probably 2/3 of the way through Star Trek Resurgence and then didn't finish. And it's not on the game, that's on me, because I'm just not really a game person, and I'm just not really sort of motivated to sit down and play a game. And so I'm probably not going to play this, just like I haven't played the Star Trek Voyager game, even though that seems really interesting.
People love it.
Kind of control the Voyager through its journey through the Delta Quadrant. They also just announced a Star Trek Strange New Worlds themed game, which is it's called an outpost build. It seems like it's a bit sort of a Sim City civilization type thing, in which you're sort of building an outpost on a planet, and it's like resource allocation type thing. So Star Trek games are sort of having this really interesting moment. I'm not really a horror guy, so that also doesn't really lend itself towards this being something that I'm really interested in. But I would love for this to find an audience. I think it's super cool that, as you said, Michelle Forbes is coming back to play Laren, the person who famously after TNG didn't want to do Deep Space Nine as a series regular because it didn't want to get tied down like that. And I said she's not a franchise gal. She's been in other franchise stuff, Battlestar Galactica being an obvious one, but she comes in and does a couple episodes and then disappears off again,
Yeah.
And it seems like when she reappeared in Star Trek Picard, Terry Matalas had spoken at length about how hard it was to get her to agree to do that. So wonderful to see her now doing a Star Trek video game. And I hope that for people for whom sort of Star Trek video games that are psychological thrillers, survival game, or however it was they described it, I hope that there's a lot of people who are into that, and they all have a good time with it, because it seems fun. It's it's the kind of thing where it's like, if I was into this, I would be really into it.
20 years ago, I probably would have been. When I was a teenager, preteen, I'm sure I would have been all over it if that was available to me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I went through a period where I played all the Star Trek games in that sort of late 90s period.
Do you remember a Final Unity?
I absolutely. Final Unity was the very first video game on a PC I ever played.
Yeah.
And my parents bought a PC because I desperately wanted to play a Final Unity.
Sure.
But I was not it took me years to actually finish the game.
I never did.
I probably got a third of the way through, and then I just couldn't figure it out. And then years later I came back to it and figured it out, and I played through the whole thing. But Final Unity, I mean, I played them all from that period of time. I played the amazing ones like Birth of the Federation and Armada and Elite Force, but I even played the really terrible ones like Hidden Evil, which was the Insurrection sequel.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was the Enterprise E goes back to Baku after the events of Star Trek Insurrection.
What?
And the
computer
Romulans are there. Yes. Yeah, and like the Romulans have like come in and like taken over. It was not a very good game, but I played it. There was a game called Star Trek Away Team where you put together like these little like it was one of those games where you're controlling like 4 or 5 characters at once and you're kind of zoomed out, and so you kind of see the like rooms and the corridors around them, and they were mostly original characters. It was this like it wasn't a Defiant class ship, but it was a ship that looked like a Defiant class ship that was like a Starfleet special operations ship. And, you know, you went and did these missions and you had to like select from the crew, the right crew members for whatever the mission was. I think Worf was one of the characters who was like assigned to this ship. So like I played that. Nobody else remembers that.
I don't remember that either.
What else did I play? Oh, there was the first foray into like digital collectibles. There was a computer game that was like a digital card game called Star Trek Conquest with a big Q, because it was like
I do remember that. I remember that advertised. Like that was
had that, played that, definitely probably spent more money than I should have on the trading cards, even though, you know, those are lost to history.
Oh, yeah.
So I played them all during that period, but that was a different time and a different me.
Yeah, me too.
It's so funny too. It's like some of this stuff, it's almost like I'm explaining Star Trek Away Team and I'm like, this feels like a fever dream. Am I really the only one who, I mean, I know it exists because like
you did it.
Yeah, I did it, and it's got a memory alpha page, so somebody, which I didn't write, so somebody else remembers this game too. But yeah, it's funny. You know, there was a period of time where they were really cranking them out.
Yeah, there were the big ones like, I feel like Final Unity broke through, the Star Trek board game, the Klingon game,
yes.
like they were big, and there was this subset of them that were much more under the radar, I think.
Yeah. Well, and for those who want to own it, the first season of Star Trek Starfleet Academy is now available to buy digitally. All 10 episodes are up on Amazon, Apple TV, Google Play, Fandango at Home, and other major platforms, along with nearly 80 minutes of bonus features, including a making-of featurette called First Year, a look at the show's props with prop master Mario Moreira, a gag reel, and deleted and extended scenes from 3 episodes. There's no word yet on a physical Blu-ray release, but with Paramount Plus expected to have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con in July, we may hear more next month. As a reminder, Starfleet Academy returns for its second and final season in 2027. Bill, what was your favorite episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1?
Come Let's Away, I think is probably it, but I really love Vox and Excelso a lot. I think I was on here right around the time that episode aired.
Yeah.
It was right after Sears Acclamation Bell. I was honored to be on the episode right after that dropped, and I talked about how much I enjoyed that, but I really loved Vox and Excelso. So that 4, 5, 6 run in the middle of the season I thought was really successful.
It's so good.
Yeah, and you know, my big takeaway from this story is really like I'm kind of jonesing to go back to that show now that it's been some time, and I've kind of stayed away from it since it ended, and I'm just I'm a physical media guy. I have every season of Star Trek, every movie on Blu-ray that are available. I have DVDs of DS9 and Voyager. So I if Paramount Plus went away tomorrow, I'd be okay to keep going with my rewatch. I'd have it all covered. So I'm very eager to hear if Starfleet Academy is going to get a physical release. I hope it does, and that this isn't like an omen of some change that. You know, Star Trek's been reliably there on physical, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, this has been a topic of debate in various different like text threads that I'm a part of. Does the release of Starfleet Academy Season 1 on digital mean that there will be no physical media release?
It scares the hell out of me.
Starfleet Academy. I've some friends who are like, no, this doesn't mean anything. This happens every season. That like you get this digital release shortly after the show's out, and then the Blu-ray comes later. But I'm like, I don't remember the special features.
Yeah,
because it feels like you learn about the special features when the Blu-ray is announced.
Yeah,
you know, and that's when you're like, oh, there are going to be these special features, and not like, oh, unbeknownst to most of you, these special features have already been out there for months. And available
100%. I mean, I have memories of anxiously going to the TrekCore article when they do a press release about the upcoming Blu-ray to see are there commentaries on this. Like, I'm looking for that kind of stuff, and I can't remember. Like, this has to be the first time I recall getting an idea of this kind of stuff through like a digital release announcement.
It's the first time I recall. I mean, so I know the only time I remember being aware of a digital release before the physical media release was the back 10 episodes of Prodigy season 1.
Yeah.
Which right after they canceled the show and removed it from Paramount Plus, they like rushed it out to digital because the Blu-ray wasn't coming until September.
And it was going to be gone.
It was, it was basically inaccessible for like 4 or 5 months. And so they fast-tracked, where it felt like fast-tracked a digital release to address the PR problem of people saying, I can't believe you've deleted Star Trek and I can't watch it right now in any format.
Yeah. You're going to make this like a lost show. It worked on me. I bought it. I bought the
totally. Absolutely. Yes.
It scared me. And
But I don't remember Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 3.
I don't think it
being released on digital with the special features months before the physical media release came out.
I'd wager some Latinum it didn't.
Yeah.
If it happens, if the Blu-ray's on the way too, hey, that's fantastic.
Wonderful.
I have no problem with a digital release putting out these special features and making that available to people who are not inclined to go physical. But my main fear, to be honest, when I look at this is like, is this going to be the show that when I look at my shelf of Star Trek stuff and Starfleet Academy is not up there? Like that doesn't sit right with me. That's gonna stick in my what.
Yeah. I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. But my sense is I don't remember it happening this way before. And that's probably not a good thing. That's probably not a good sign.
No, I mean, it's going to really bother me that I have Section 31 on 4K sitting on my shelf, but not Starfleet Academy. That is not right. There's nothing right about that, and you know it.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. That cannot be permitted to be the reality.
Yep. How about I trade in my 4K Section 31 for.
Yeah, I gave you people my purchase on this, despite my better judgment, and my expectation is that you're going to return the favor with Starfleet Academy, please.
Oh boy. Well, and lastly this week, just in time for Captain Picard Day, Vice Press has unveiled a release that longtime Next Generation fans are going to want to make room for on their wall. But if you didn't get it by now, time travel is probably the only way you're going to do it. Artist Matt Ferguson, who's previously remastered a string of classics Trek theatrical one-sheet movie posters, has now turned his attention to one of the most quietly iconic pieces of art in the entire franchise, the painting of the USS Enterprise D that hung in Captain Jean-Luc Picard's ready room. Originally created for the Next Generation by Andy Probert and Rick Sternbach, the painting sat opposite Picard's desk for 7 seasons, a constant, understated presence in some of the series' most pivotal conversations. Yet despite its prominence, the artwork has rarely been made available for license purchase across its roughly 40-year life, which makes this remastered run feel genuinely special. Vice Press is offering it in a few tiers. There's a standard 36 by 18 inch edition limited to 500 units at $55, and a foil edition capped at 300 units for $70. And for collectors with serious wall space and serious ambition, there was a giant 60 by 40 inch version which retailed for $350, with just 20 of those being produced. But bad news if you're just learning about this release right now. I popped over to Vice Press right before we hit record, and all 3 versions are currently sold out. No word if a new additional print run will be coming for these prints. Bill, if you could have any piece of Star Trek art on your wall, what would you have?
Probably this one. I think that, like you said, it's as iconic. Perfectly said. It's not like outwardly iconic. It's not like featured in stories or anything. Although a little bit in Picard season 3, they kind of literalized like, oh, Picard has it, and what's he going to do with it? He's going to give it to Geordi. Like it's kind of talked about there. But it's just there. It's just like omnipresent throughout all of TNG. And like you said, so many critical moments happen in that ready room, like where Picard and somebody are like sitting on that couch and it's like hanging right above them. Like it's just so there in so many big scenes and important moments. And it's such a beautiful piece of art. I'd probably go with that. That's the one for me. Of course, I didn't buy it and now I'm regretting it. Did you? Do you have it?
I have it. Yeah. So I've always loved that painting.
Yeah.
And
of course.
A few years ago, I set about trying to find if there had been like a high quality, like licensed print of it that had been done. And to my surprise, there's like a Star Trek shop version that you could get that's awful and has like a big Star Trek Picard logo in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
But the only other version I could find, this was several years ago, was there had been like a limited edition run of the prints. They're pretty big. They're not full size, but they're pretty big. And I spent years hunting for one. And I finally found one for a decent price, and I got it. And it's framed on my wall in my bedroom.
Cool.
And so I was thrilled when they announced this, not for me, because I've already got one hanging on my wall, though I did buy one of the smaller ones just because this one is remastered, so I'm curious, if sort of what the quality is. But I'm thrilled because I think this is one of the most iconic like pieces of Star Trek art, and it's inexplicable to me why it's been so hard to get a hold of. I mean, it shows all kinds of like licensing and royalties and all that stuff, kind of tied up in like, why could you not buy this on a wallpaper? But it's wonderful that it was made available. And clearly a ton of people were interested in it because they sold 820 of them in a matter of a couple of days. No problem, sold out. I mean, the full-size version, I was sorely tempted by the full-size version. I mean, almost certainly, even if I had logged onto the website in time to buy it, probably wouldn't have, because $350 is so much money when I already have one hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
So I was sort of like, it was released like Wednesday at like noon Eastern, and I was like, I really hope I'm distracted when it comes out, and by the time I go over to the website, it's sold out. And
takes the decision away from me.
Exactly, the decision's taken out of my hands, and that's exactly what happened. At 12:19, I was like, noon has passed. I got to go over to the Vice Press website and torture myself about whether I'm going to be one of the 20 people to get the full size one or not. And it was sold out by 12:19. So, I mean, I think at that point it had probably been sold out for like 15 minutes, given that they posted something later saying, we've gotten a lot of people asking us why we only did 20. And so, yeah, but I mean, I think this is really cool. And, Vice Press, their kind of remastered theatrical posters they did were really nice. And I'm excited that they're not done with Star Trek and that there's more that they're doing like this, because it's great that more fans have the opportunity to own something like this, because you have to be a serious eBay head like me, which means seriously mentally ill, in order to get access to, in order to find another version of this that looks good and displays well on your wall.
Have you bought, I mean, I'm always super impressed from a TrekCore article or whatever with the Vice Press like product from what I see on a computer screen. Have you bought their stuff? Like, is it as good? As impressive in person?
Yeah, they're really great.
Really high quality.
All their stuff's really nice.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and it's
always
like
looks fantastic.
Yeah, they print on like, it's not sort of fully card stock, but it's not like floppy paper either.
Yeah.
So, it's got some weight to it, and it looks really good, and the color saturation's really nice. Like, like the stuff they do is really worth it.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, well, we've talked about the facts, and now let's offer our opinions on the Star Trek franchise.
Your opinion has been noted. Anything further?
So as we transition from the news section to the opinion section, each week my guest and I will give you a Star Trek opinion, wish, or theory we're nurturing that week about any aspect of the Star Trek franchise we want to opine on. So Bill, let's hear it. What's your big Star Trek opinion for this week?
Well, the thing I was going to talk about here until I kind of saw the news stories that we were going to be talking about was my fears about the Starfleet Academy physical release prospects, but we already talked about that. So I'm really eager to see what San Diego Comic-Con brings about, with this being the 60th anniversary and us being in this kind of quagmire of political changeover at the company and all this stuff. Like, I'm just curious, like, what that's going to bring in terms of like panels and news, and is it going to be very kind of Starfleet Academy season 2, a little something, Strange New Worlds season 4 is here, maybe a little tease with the cast, and that's kind of it. It's just here and gone, enough for a quick little news article, and that's that. Or is there anything that's said that gives some hope for the future, or at least some clarity of what's to come in the near future with the whole big picture of Star Trek 2027 and beyond? I'm kind of eagerly awaiting that. And, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
Beyond the obvious Strange New World season 4 being a month away and thinking a lot about that. And then, like I said, the Starfleet Academy.
Reading the tea leaves, they're not doing nothing for San Diego Comic-Con. So there's two things. One is the badge design for San Diego Comic-Con was released just this past week, and it's a Star Trek themed badge design. It's a big, like USS Enterprise the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, like hovering over the top of the convention center that SDCC takes place at. So Paramount have put some coin behind basically buying the promotional spot of being on everybody's badges. And then the other thing is William Shatner said in some interviews, maybe like a month, 6 weeks ago, that he had been invited by Paramount to participate in some big Star Trek 60th anniversary celebration at San Diego Comic-Con, and that he wasn't, I think he was like probably doing a convention or something else that weekend and wasn't going to be able to do it, but that sort of indicated that there's something.
They're doing something.
They're doing something, but neither of those things really answer your question.
No, and I think there is no answer coming on that.
Yeah, like,
going to be,
what's the future of the Star Trek franchise going to be? Because it sounds like there's going to be sort of a big 60th anniversary retro,
looking back, celebrating all the stuff. Yeah, and that's great.
But what about prospective? I mean, I'm sure there will be a Star Trek Universe panel with the Strange New Worlds people talking about whatever the season 4 episode was that week, and then like a Starfleet Academy season 2 trailer. But will they tell us what's coming next? I don't know,
No, I'm sure they're not, and I'm sure there is nothing coming next in this immediate future. Right. I guess it's even more like, what's the vibe from it? Like, is it sort of like
funereal?
Exactly. Like that's what I'm mostly kind of curious to see. What's the temperature like coming out of that? Is it feel like they're talking like, does an Alex Kurtzman talk like it's sort of a wrap up, or does he continue to say stuff like, well, we're still talking and hope for the future, and we have these ideas. Like, I'm really curious to see what kind of messages put out from that event.
Yeah, the vibes will, I think,
be the most telling thing.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah, because I would also be really surprised if we get a lot of information. I think the one thing we might get, I don't think we're going to get anything about Star Trek on TV. I don't think they're going to do a thing unless Alex Kurtzman's getting his contract extended, and they're going to announce that, which feels unlikely given everything that's happened over the last 6 months, but not impossible, but feels unlikely. Unless they're like Alex Kurtzman's our guy and he's going to be with us for the next 5 years, and so he's going to tell you a little bit about what comes next, for the Star Trek franchise. I don't think they're going to do like hey, here's your Starfleet Academy, trailer and your Strange New Worlds discussion, and then we're gonna, the kind of shepherd's hook's gonna reach out over the stage and hook around Alex Kurtzman and rip him off the stage, and then David Ellison's gonna come out and say, and now I want to introduce you to the guy who's gonna run the Star Trek franchise going forward. Please welcome Ronald D. Moore. Of course, it's not gonna be Ronald D. Moore, but and then they will, if there's someone coming next, assuming their plan is to have someone come next and not rest it for a few years, they're not going to do that in the same moment that they're promoting Kurtzman era stuff.
Right.
But given Kurtzman's always been a TV guy, and very explicitly a TV guy, and movies have never been his thing, you might get a thing about a movie.
Yeah.
Like, this sort of movie idea, this pitch they have in the latest of 1,000 pitches they have in development from the Dungeons and Dragons guys. There could be an announcement around that, and that wouldn't feel awkward in the way that a new TV show not being showrun by Alex Kurtzman would be really awkward, while you're also talking about the TV shows that are being showrun by Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah, it sure would be awkward to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, you could pull off like a movie announcement in addition. But I mean, the long history of movie announcements for Star Trek in the last decade just mean that it's like, okay,
people just roll their eyes, like they don't want to hear it. Like, I mean,
exactly.
it's they're always interesting to hear. Like, okay, what are they aiming for? But like, it's really like, wake me up when the cameras are rolling.
Right. Until that first trailer comes out. I don't believe you.
No, I
don't believe you.
They can't figure it out.
Yeah. So Hey, we're about a month away from San Diego Comic-Con now, so we will learn soon enough.
Yep.
So my opinion this week is I went to Trek Long Island this past weekend, the independent Star Trek convention that's now been running. This was its 4th year. It's been in existence. I've been to 3 of them. I went to the first 2. I didn't go last year because I was traveling for work around the same time, and then I went this year, and I didn't get a chance to spend too much time there this year. I left later than I wanted to on Friday, and the traffic was terrible, so I didn't get up there until like Friday at 10, and then I was there Saturday morning, and around lunchtime got the word that my HVAC system at home had stopped working, so ended up making the decision mid-afternoon to turn around and drive all the way back again so that I could meet an emergency technician to get the HVAC fixed. And so I, did like 2/3 of a day at Trek Long Island, but it's a nice convention. And the thing that I it's an independent fan-run convention, and they're moving to a new hotel next year, which I think is really great because I think they were not well served by the venue that they had. And part of the reason why they were not well served by the venue they had is because there were so many people there, which was wonderful to see.
That's cool.
60th anniversary of Star Trek, independent fan-run convention in Long Island, New York. Not the easiest place in the world to get to, considering it took me 7 hours to drive there on what is, a 4.5 hour drive in no traffic. Not the easiest place in the world to get to, but was really well attended. I mean, the vendor's room was, not super dynamic, and the audio at the hotel was terrible, in terms of the like panels, and the layouts, really weird. But it's the same hotel they've been at for the last 4 years, and the hotel itself has gone downhill quite a lot. Only one of the 3 elevators was working this weekend, which when you've got a whole convention and what looked like 5 weddings taking place at the same time made that a bit of a challenge. But in some ways, it's like the things that were bad about the convention or the things that were suboptimal about the convention was because the convention was really well attended, which is like also really wonderful to see.
It really is.
It was really nice, at a moment in time in which there's so much conversation. Hey, anybody who wants to go back and listen to the commencement of my midlife crisis episode that I did last time, where it was just me whining into the camera about, the cancellation of the Stargate show and sort of wider thoughts about franchise IP.
What it all means.
Star Trek, yeah. Like, well, no, I'm in a bit of a bad place about, like this sense of the sun setting on a bunch of these things that I really love very much.
Yeah.
And so it was, even though I was only there for 2/3 of one day, it was really nice to sort of get that affirming sense of, oh, there's actually still a lot of people who really like this. So many so that you can pack out the Hyatt Regency Long Island for a 3-day Star Trek convention the same weekend as there was the Knicks won it in 5 and the first New York-based game of the World Cup. That's part of the reason why the traffic was so bad.
Sure, yeah.
That a bunch of people showed up to Hyatt in the middle of Long Island to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, and it felt busy, and it felt like everybody was having a good time, and they had a great guest list, and so kudos to Trek Long Island. I will be back next year and look forward to checking out the new hotel and hope that that hotel serves you better than the one that you've been in for the last few years, because the only way is up for them and for conventions like them. So it's just, I really wanted to share that, because after having had such a downer of an episode last time, it was nice even for me to kind of get a bit of like a glass of cold water to the face to remind me to not be such a depressing moron about all this.
Well, I wouldn't call you. I wouldn't too hard on yourself. But I am really curious, like in the 2/3 of a day you were there, like demographically, was there anything of note with like the kind of crowd that you saw? Was it fairly diverse? Was it not?
It was a diverse crowd in everything but demographics.
Got it.
Yeah,
understood.
Yeah, it definitely still fit what you would expect.
Sure.
Let's just say it didn't fully break any of my theory about the long-term trajectory.
That's it. Yeah, that's all.
Franchises like Star Trek, but even though it was a bunch of middle-aged and older people, there were a lot of middle-aged and older people.
Yeah.
We're taking this to our graves.
Yep, we sure are. I sure am.
Do you have an opinion, theory, or wish about Star Trek that you'd like to share? Email them to me at weeklytrek@trekcore.com, and I might feature your thoughts in a future episode. Well, that's all the time we've got for this episode of Weekly Trek. Thank you so much to my guest, Bill Mann, for joining me today. Bill, how can people contact you if they want to continue the conversation?
You can find me on Blue Sky at TrekFan4387, where I'm rewatching Star Trek for the 5th time on social media, sharing many of the same kinds of things that Alex is going to be sharing on Warp Factor 5, episode ratings and little mini reviews, talking about how my thoughts and feelings on these things have kind of moved over the years. Data charts and rankings and all that stuff. So look for me there.
And if you want to hear Bill and I talk more about Star Trek Enterprise Season 1 and Dorian Incident through Cold Front, Episode 2 of Warp Factor 5 will drop on Thursday, July 2nd. And you can find this show on X at Weekly Trek, and me at Alexander T. Perry on X and at Alex T. Perry on Blue Sky, Threads, and everywhere else. And if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. And for all your Star Trek news needs, in addition to our extensive media archives of all things Star Trek, I hope you will keep your senses locked to TrekCore.com. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you to all of my listeners. And until next week, live long and prosper. Weekly Trek is a production of TrekCore.com and owned by Trapezoid Media, LLC.